Hello there and welcome to the show, and today I'm going to be talking about AEW All In Texas. All In Texas was AEW's biggest show of the year, although it very much did not feel like that with the terrible build that went into the show. The show took place live on July 12th from Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, had an attendance of just over 27,000 people in an arena that can hold up to 40,000 people. Let's talk about the show. I did not like the majority of television that went into the show. The build to a couple of these matches was pretty lazy, and being that the main event storyline has legitimately killed this company, I had very little hope for this show. This show started off with a 6-man tag team match for the AEW World Trios Tag Team Championships. The Ops, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Katsuyori Shibata versus the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Gabe Kidd. This was a fine match. It served its purpose. It did exactly what it needed to do. Solid enough opening match to the show. This match had a couple of really good spots and a couple of funny moments. The Ops retained the Trios Championships like I hoped they would. For a moment there, I was actually afraid that Tony Khan would put the championships back on the Death Riders. Samoa Joe hit a muscle buster on Wheeler Yuta. That was the closing sequence post-match. The Death Riders attack the Ops. Samoa Joe is taken out with a steel chair. He's stretchered out of the arena. Up next, we had the Men's Casino Gauntlet match. The participants of this match were Mark Briscoe, MJF, Ricochet, Bandito, Konosuke Takeshita, Mystico, Josh Alexander, Anthony Bowens, Roderick Strong, Brody King, Juice Robinson, Kota Ibushi, The Beast Mortos, and Max Caster. This match featured the biggest problem that I had with AEW All In is that it went way too long. This match clocked in at 35 minutes, and there was no reason this match should have gone over 20 minutes. This show, All In Texas, was longer than WrestleMania 35, according to some reports. The length of this show was excruciating at a certain point. No reason any wrestling show, I don't care if it's your biggest show of the year, there is no reason any show should go longer than 4 hours. 3 hours itself is like pushing it. When you go past the 4-hour mark, you are really stretching the patience of your audience. This match went way too long, and in my opinion, that brought down the overall enjoyment of this match. There were some cool moments in this match. The storytelling with MJF and Mark Briscoe, Kota Ibushi, and Juice Robinson making their returns. I do feel that last year's Casino Gauntlet match was better. MJF won this match. That was the right call. He's the only guy in this match that makes sense. The closing sequence saw Mark Briscoe hitting a J-Driller on Roderick Strong. MJF throwing Mark Briscoe out of the ring and pinning Roderick Strong for the win. MJF is the #1 contender for the AEW World Championship by way of the open contract. We'll see where this goes. I've been enjoying the storytelling that they've been telling with the Hurt Syndicate on Dynamite, so I'm excited to see where this goes. This was a fine match, but the fact that it went 35 minutes really brings this match down. Fatal 4-way match for the vacant TNT Championship. Kyle Fletcher, Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes, and Daniel Garcia. This was initially supposed to be Kyle Fletcher versus Adam Cole. However, Adam Cole had to vacate the TNT Championship due to not being medically cleared. According to reports, Adam Cole was going to come out and legitimately retire at All In. However, management convinced him to change his mind. So Adam Cole came out to vacate the TNT Championship. He cut a very emotional, very heartfelt promo. Adam Cole visibly had tears in his eyes, which made me tear up. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I've enjoyed his work. Adam Cole is legitimately great, and I wish him all the best. Going into this match, I was fully expecting Kyle Fletcher to win. However, this match surprised me. Dustin Rhodes actually won this match. Closing sequence, Daniel Garcia locked in the Dragon Tamer on Dustin. Dustin rolled up Garcia. Sammy was too late to make the save, and Dustin Rhodes is the new TNT champion. This got a great reaction from the crowd. Post-match, the Von Erichs and Sammy Guevara celebrated with Dustin. This was actually a very cool moment for Dustin Rhodes. Dustin would go on to lose the TNT Championship to Kyle Fletcher on this past week's episode of Collision, but this was a great moment for Dustin Rhodes. The match for the championship was fine. The moment was the real highlight of the match itself. And once again, best wishes to Adam Cole. High stakes tag team match, the Young Bucks versus Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. If Swerve and Ospreay lost, they could no longer challenge for the AEW World Championship for up to 1 year. If the Young Bucks lost, they would no longer be EVPs. The build to this match was actually pretty decent. Will Ospreay, in my opinion, had a great entrance. Swerve had a great entrance. The Assassin's Creed theme theme with Will Ospreay jumping out of the stage like he was shot out of a cannon. That was great, and his theme song, one of the best in all of pro wrestling. JoJo sang an intro that led into Swerve's theme song, so that was pretty nice. The Young Bucks came out on a boat walking through the crowd. These guys had great entrances, and this match to me was the second best match of the night. This match was incredible. This is legitimately one of the best tag team matches of the entire year for all of pro wrestling. Second best match of the night at All In. There was a great series of moves. All four guys were down. Swerve was thrown into the steel steps. Nana got super kicked. Ospreay was rolled up for a 2. Low blow on Ospreay. TK driver on Swerve. Hidden blade by Nicholas on Ospreay. EVP trigger on Ospreay. 2 count. Swerve made the save. Will Ospreay hits hidden blade on Swerve by accident. EVP trigger on Ospreay again for a 2 count. TK driver on Ospreay for a 2 count. The Young Bucks hit 5 super kicks on Will Ospreay, 4 super kicks on Swerve, and then for good measure, a double super kick on Swerve. Tombstone by the Bucks for a 2 count. Will Ospreay hits a hidden blade on Matthew for a 2 count. Stomp by Swerve on Nicholas. Closing sequence. Simultaneous hidden blade and house call on Matthew for the win. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland win the high stakes tag team match. The Young Bucks are no longer EVPs in AEW. This was an excellent match, in my opinion, second best match of the night, and the way this match played into the main event, we'll talk about that later, but this was an excellent match, second best match of the night, one of the best tag team matches of the year. The Women's Casino Gauntlet match, participants were Chris Statlander, Megan Bayne, Willow Nightingale, Ty Mello, Thekla, Julia Hart, Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa, Athena, Thunder Rosa, Sayuri, and Alex Windsor. The winner of this match would receive a #1 contenders contract for the AEW Women's World Championship. Again, the length of this match really brought it down in my opinion. This match clocked in at 27 minutes, and the tag team match before this clocked in at 25 minutes. Going to these two back-to-back was not a good idea. That being said, this was a fine match in my opinion, and going into this match, there is only one thing that I was hoping for, and that would be Athena winning this match. Athena is a great wrestler, and she's been wasting away at Ring of Honor for years. It was her time. This was her match to win, and I am happy to say that she won this match. Everyone is fighting in the ring. Julia and Thekla have tarantula holds locked in. Megan Bayne dropped Chris Statlander on the apron. Willow hit a Death Valley driver on the apron. Chris powerbombed Megan off the apron onto everyone except Julia on the outside. Mina hit the Hurricane on Rosa, and then Athena hit the Eclipse on Mina Shirakawa for the win. Right outcome. Fine match, right outcome, and hopefully Athena is pushed prominently on AEW television and is given that Women's World Championship run. Triple threat match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus Jet Speed, Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey versus the Patriarchy, Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. FTR were on commentary during this match. Hurt Syndicate had a live musical performance and they were accompanied by MVP and MJF. Syndicate were attacked immediately during their entrance, but they took control. Hurt Syndicate dominated. Kevin Knight dropkicked Nick Wayne off of Mike Bailey's shoulders to the outside. Jet Speed take out Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne. Bobby Lashley threw Christian Cage into FTR. Lashley hits a spear on Christian Cage for the win. The Hurt Syndicate retained the World Tag Team Championships. No surprise there. They are one of the best acts in all of AEW. Post-match, FTR are in the ring and they're confronting the Patriarchy. They're arguing for a bit. Christian Cage calms down the situation. He's about to leave, and then Nick Wayne hits the kill switch on Christian Cage. Mother Wayne is laughing at this. FTR were shocked. Mother Wayne then slapped Christian, called him a terrible father. Kip Sabian went outside, brought in some chairs. They were about to do the concerto, and then Adam Copeland makes his return to AEW with Spike. He does his full entrance, which was great and at the same time kind of hilarious, being that Christian Cage was about to be concertoed. Adam Copeland took out the Patriarchy on the ramp, hits a double spear on FTR in the ring, attacks Nick Wayne with Spike, spear on Kip Sabian, helps Christian Cage back to his feet, and he tells Christian Cage, "Go find yourself." All Out is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The main event of All Out, in my opinion, will either be Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus the Hurt Syndicate for the Tag Team Championships, or in an unsanctioned match against FTR. One of these two possibilities are going to be the main event. The Triple Threat Tag Team Championship match was very good. I really enjoyed this match. The post-match was the real important stuff with the storytelling. The way they furthered Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, I feel, was done pretty well, because I mentioned in a couple of my previous reviews, I have no idea what Tony Khan is going to do, but it looks like he's got an idea of where this is going, so I'm interested to see where this goes. Really good match. The post-match stuff was also pretty good. The first of what was advertised as a triple main event, which of course is not the case. There is no such thing as a triple main event or a double main event. The main event match is the match that closes the show. The match before the main event is the semi-main event. There is no double main event, there is no triple main event. For the AEW Women's World Championship, Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. Mercedes won the Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament to get this match. This is the biggest match AEW can do for the women's division right now, because these are the two biggest names in the women's division. Both women had custom entrances. Toni Storm's entrance was phenomenal in my opinion. Mercedes locked in a statement maker early on. Toni countered. Toni then faked a dive, mocked Mercedes. One of the funniest moments of the match, Luther gave an assist to Toni, throwing Mercedes off the apron. Mercedes kicked Toni off the apron, but Luther caught her. Moné hit a Meteora on Luther. Sunset flip powerbomb, running kick, and another sunset flip powerbomb, followed by a regular powerbomb on the floor by Mercedes. Meteora for a 2 count by Mercedes. Sky High for a 2 count by Toni Storm. Fisherman Suplex for a 2 count by Toni Storm. Mercedes hit a Tornado DDT for 2. Mercedes did the sacrifice arm breaker and locked in a submission. Toni countered a frog splash roll up for 2. Storm 0. 2 count. Mercedes locked in the ankle lock. Toni countered. Mercedes hit the moneymaker. 2 count. Toni hit a Tiger Driver bomb for a 2 count. Mercedes locked in a Kimura lock. Backstabber into the statement maker. 3 consecutive Storm zeros. 2 count. How that was not the end of the match, I have no idea. Mercedes rolled up Toni for 2, locked in the statement maker, and then transitioned that into the STF. Closing sequence. Toni hits an Avalanche Storm 0 for the win. Toni Storm beats Mercedes Moné. Mercedes loses her first match in AEW. Toni Storm is still the AEW Women's World Champion. I was a little surprised by this. I thought that Tony Khan would for sure put the championship on Mercedes, but he made the right call. Toni Storm is still the AEW Women's World Champion. This was a very good match. This match definitely felt like a main event. Both women delivered. This was a very good match, in my opinion. Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. Winner takes all match for the AEW Unified Championship. I've mentioned in every video I made about AEW this year that this match was going to happen and it was going to be to unify the championships. However, unify is in heavy quotations when it comes to this match. I hated the build to this match. Tony Khan and AEW's creative team completely relied on nostalgia to sell this match. They had that video package for this match that played during the build, 6 minutes long, highlighting their history. That video package was very good. What I would have done, these two had 4 singles matches together in New Japan. What I would have done is I would have spent 4 weeks. 1 week, go over 1 match, have wrestlers weigh in, give their thoughts, have Okada and Omega give their thoughts. That's 4 weeks of build right there, 1 week for each of their matches. But instead, we got a 6-minute video package on the contract signing segment. Another thing I want to mention, the AEW Unified Championship has to be one of the stupidest names for a championship in recent memory. And it's also a title that makes 0 sense because nothing is being unified. The International Championship is still an active championship. The Continental Championship is still an active championship. And this Unified Championship, instead of being like a ceremonial belt, is a brand new championship. So whoever won this match would be a triple champion holding 3 active championships in AEW, which is the last thing this company needs. This company already has too many championships and some of them already don't mean anything. So you add another championship that also means nothing on top of all of this. I legitimately don't don't get why Tony Khan didn't retire the International and the Continental Championships and bring in a brand new championship. Now, I did find out that WWE owns the trademark for Intercontinental Championship, so AEW couldn't use that. Just make this a match for both championships instead of creating a new championship that means nothing. Nothing about this unified championship made any sense. What is being unified? Jim Ross was on commentary during this match. Kazuchika Okada joined the Don Callis family. Don Callis was on commentary during this match as well. Kota Ibushi was the corner man for Kenny Omega during this match. Okada made his entrance. Kenny Omega had a Final Fantasy type entrance. This is their 5th singles match together. We got This Is Awesome chants before they even started wrestling. And despite everything that I just said, this was an excellent match. Okada and Omega are two of the best wrestlers in the world. So of course, this was not going to be a bad match. And this match delivered. This match was very good. Omega went for the You Can't Escape. Okada got the knees up to counter. Okada dropkicked Omega out of the ring. Don Callis attacked Kenny Omega. Okada hit a DDT on the announce table. Great sell by Kenny Omega. 7 count. DDT in the ring. 2 count for Okada. 2 of them exchanged forearms and chops. Okada hit a big boot. Omega hit a Hurricane Rana and the Terminator dive. Omega hit a missile dropkick for 2. Okada hit a fireman's carry neckbreaker. Omega hit a fisherman buster from the top rope. Okada hit a German suplex roll up for 2. Dragon suplex by Kenny Omega. 2 dropkicks by Okada. Okada hit 2 top rope elbows. Okada faked a Rainmaker and hit a knee on Omega. Omega hit a powerbomb and V-trigger for 2. Another V-trigger for 2. V-trigger to the back of the neck by Omega. Omega hit an avalanche dragon suplex. That was awesome. Omega hit another V-trigger. Okada hit a spinning tombstone and Rainmaker for a 2 count. Omega hit a German suplex for 2. Rocky Romero came out. Kota Ibushi threw Romero into the barricade. Omega hit the one-winged angel on Okada. Don Callis took out the ref and then stomped the back of his neck. Omega hit a V-trigger. Rainmaker by Okada. 2 count. V-trigger dropkick by Omega. Omega rolled up Okada for 2. Okada hit a spinning power slam and 1 final Rainmaker for the win. Kazuchika Okada is the AEW Unified Champion, the AEW International Champion, and still the AEW Continental Champion. He is now a triple champion. This was a great match. Okada and Omega both worked great in this match. The story leading into this was non-existent. Tony Khan relied entirely on nostalgia to sell this match, and the outcome, with Okada holding 3 championships, coming out with the Unified Championship and having Don Callis come out with the International and the Continental Championships, it all looks ridiculous. So question, does this mean that all 3 championships are defended simultaneously? Or if Okada loses the Unified title, is he still going to be the International Champion and the Continental Champion? When we get to the Continental Classic, is it just the Continental Championship that's going to be on the line? Can anyone challenge for any individual championship? These are things that I'm sure Tony Khan and the creative team put zero effort into thinking of. This was a great match, but the logic gaps are just too big, which is completely unfair to Okada and Omega because both of them worked really hard in this match. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. Our all-in main event, Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match for the AEW World Championship. Adam Page won the Men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament to earn this opportunity. This Death Rider storyline has killed AEW. 9 months. This storyline has given us 9 months of some of the worst television in professional wrestling history. What we've received was complete garbage. Tony Khan should be ashamed of himself that this is what he presented to the world for 9 months. That is unacceptable. The storyline has killed AEW. The build to this match was not great. You had a few moments of brilliance here and there, but overall, you didn't sell me on this match. Going into this match, I was honestly fully expecting Jon Moxley to retain and for this garbage to continue well into the fall. And I mentioned in my Double or Nothing review that Tony Khan only had one job, Let's see if he accomplished it. Hangman had a custom entrance. He had a guitar player and a singer play this Western type theme leading into his music. Moxley came out in a truck through the crowd. This is the second Texas death match between the two. This match started off with some strikes. Page locked in a triangle choke and started stabbing Moxley's head with a fork. Moxley was bleeding immediately. Moxley wrapped barbed wire around Page's face. Mox body slammed Page on a barbed wire steel chair. Moxley hit a cutter and called for glass. Moxley then rubbed shards of glass on Hangman's face. Moxley then dragged Hangman through the glass. Moxley hits a pile driver onto the glass. They exchange some strikes. Moxley then hit another pile driver, got an 8 count. Moxley used barbed wire on the back of Hangman. Hangman powerbombed Moxley onto 2 steel chairs. Moxley then rolled onto the glass. Page hit a Death Valley driver on Marina Shafir off the apron through a table. Deadeye on Moxley on glass. Claudio came out to attack Hangman. Yuta came out also to attack Hangman. Will Ospreay came out to try and make the save. But then Gabe Kidd attacked Will Ospreay, locked in a guillotine, and hit a pile driver on the floor. Will Ospreay is stretchered out of the arena. On an episode of Dynamite that followed this, Will Ospreay has stated that he is dealing with an injury and is going to be out of commission until Forbidden Door. Reason behind that is Claudio hit a stomp with a chair, the same thing he did to Samoa Joe earlier in the show. Moxley suplexed Hangman off the apron through 2 barbed wire tables, 9 count. Moxley hit a lariat, pile driver locked in the bulldog choke, 9 count. Death Rider on a chair, 9 count. Yuta brought out a plastic bag, and then a video started playing and it showed Mount Everest. Darby Allin returns to AEW attacking the Death Riders, but before that, a guy wearing a Blue Panther mask enters the ring and hits the Busaiku knee, and it was revealed that this was Bryan Danielson. Darby Allin descends from the roof and helps out Hangman. Hangman hits a buckshot lariat. Darby Allin hits a coffin drop on the Death Riders. Hangman hits another buckshot lariat. Darby and Bryan then take out the rest of the Death Riders. Deadeye off the apron through a table. We got This Is Awesome chants. Marina helped Moxley back to his feet, 9 count. The Young Bucks came out, double super kick and EVP trigger on Hangman. Moxley and Marina then bring out a bed of nails. Moxley then hit a very weak looking stomp and a paradigm shift on the bed of nails. Moxley then called for the briefcase. Prince Nana handcuffed Marina Shafir to the barricade. Swerve Strickland came out, took out the Young Bucks. Swerve gave Hangman a steel chain. Hangman punched Moxley with the steel chain. Hangman hits a buckshot lariat. Moxley fell backward onto the bed of nails. Hangman then remembered their match from Revolution. He wrapped the chain around Moxley's neck, threw him over the top rope, and started choking out Moxley. John Moxley, he panics, he's got nowhere to go. John Moxley taps out. We get the loudest pop of the entire night. And that is because Hangman Adam Page won the World Championship, and the Death Rider storyline, the 9-month reign of terror, the 273-day reign of garbage, has finally ended! I cannot begin to tell you how happy I was when Moxley lost this match. The worst storyline in AEW company history has finally ended. This storyline has killed AEW. They are now in a massive rebuilding phase. This was 100% the right call. Tony Khan, you might have been a clueless hack and you might have booked this show like a clown for the last 9 months, but you made the right call with the outcome of this match. Hangman opens the briefcase and we see the AEW World Championship for the first time in 9 months. That was a great pop, and then Hangman is announced as the new world champion and the show goes off the air. The right call, best match of the night, and thank you for ending this nightmare. Hangman is the new world champion. This was the best match of the night. I enjoyed this better than their Texas death match from Revolution a few years ago. This was an excellent death match, and overall, All In Texas. Had a few slow matches here and there, but overall, this was an excellent show with a great main event with an outcome that will be remembered for a long time, mostly because it ended the reign of terror for AEW. I actually still can't believe that Jon Moxley isn't the AEW World Champion. And the reason I waited up until now to do my review is because they booked a rematch, which I was 50-50 on whether Jon Moxley was gonna win or not. But he didn't win, he lost the rematch. The Death Rider storyline, at least Moxley being in the main event and being the World Champion, that seems to be a part of the past, which is the best thing for AEW. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Instagram at Said_2000, and I will see you on the next video. Till then, take care.